Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&As, so let's go ahead and get this started. Alright, first question. 6 months since I strength trained. When I stopped, I was an intermediate. To get back, should I start with your novice program? Thanks. Nope, you don't ever want to run a novice program. Ever again. You run them one time, and then you're done. That's why even when I made the 2.0, I had kind of told people, yeah, run it 12 weeks, run it 6 months, whatever. Right? That's why I told them that. Here's what you need to remember. And I may not always agree with, say, the starting strength guys like Ripto. Well, he is starting strength on everything. But this is definitely a point I'm going to agree with him on. Once you have finished your novice linear progression, you will never be the same creature again. What do I mean by that? When you bounce back, it happens fast. There's no point in running a novice linear progression again. You might run a milder LP, right? I wouldn't run a full body novice type program again with the 5-pound increases every workout. No. Come in, get moving again, establish some weight, and just start adding weight for a few weeks. Go on an upper lower. And he's right, though. He's right with that, because you're not the same creature. You have permanently changed. There are fairly permanent structural changes that seem to occur from building some type of strength base. Okay? They don't all completely go away. You didn't lose all of them. You're never going to be a true novice again. Doesn't mean you can't make some pretty quick progress, but most novice full body type programs, no, they're too low a volume, too rapid a progression. And why would you, as someone who's an experienced lifter, run the standard LP? Why do we make those LPs? We make them because novices are going to be too lazy to add weight all the time to their squats, and they're going to stay at 135-pound squat the rest of their life. Okay? We run those aggressive ones to push people to their failure and then have them back down and keep progressing. You've already been an intermediate lifter. You've already experienced what basic progression looks like. Come in and just follow a real good quick progression right up, and then jump into an intermediate type program, or jump into conjugate or something. Right? Run a few weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, of just your own quick upper lower. You know what your weak links were before, right? Whatever weak links you were developing as an intermediate, whether it was your hamstrings or your triceps, whatever it was that were developing, they're probably going to be your slight genetic tendency. And when you come back to rebuilding, I promise you those are going to be your first set of weak links again. So just do extra work for them. Just come in from day one and start doing supplemental work for whatever you knew your weak links were when you quit. Okay? Pretty straightforward. If your hamstrings were a weak link, come in and do a bunch of extra hamstring work. Do extra good mornings. Glute ham raises, leg curls, whatever you need to do. If your triceps are a weak link, put a bunch of focus on closed grip pressing, do tricep extensions, whatever you need to do. It's pretty straightforward. Right? You're not a novice just because you've detrained for 6 months. Don't run a novice program again. Get back in and start training. And you'll make pretty quick progress. You know more than you did as a novice. You don't have to follow those sort of protocols anymore. In fact, they're not even ideal anymore. All right, next question. And this one's from a man, Jay, who I have actually bumped into at a gym before. We have met in person. So it's just one of the small world out there. How come there are some football players who are about the same level of body fat as powerlifters of the same weight but can't lift nearly as much? Does this go back to the whole strength being a skill thing? Do major differences in training style truly make that much of a huge difference in 1 rep maxes? I always thought it was the total amount of muscle you had that determines it. All right, brother, a lot of factors at play here. Maybe some of these are not the most genetically gifted football players if they don't have just amazing force production. What level are these guys competing at? Are these just high school guys, or are these like D1 athletes? Okay. The other thing to think about, maybe they don't have the same muscle and body fat as the power lifter. This is assuming they're the same height, right? Because if you're taller, you need more muscle to move the same weight. You have more strength potential, The tallest guys are the strongest guys, and anyone who doesn't believe that, go watch the World's Strongest Man competition. You don't see anybody only 5'10", 6 foot there. They range anywhere from 6'2" up to about 6'9". Those are tall dudes. But at the same body weight, the guy who's an inch shorter has more strength potential than you if his muscle mass is similar. He has to move the weight one less inch on everything. Okay? He has a hair less bone weight, organ weight, other stuff potentially there. So here's what I might suggest. Maybe some of these football players have 5 pounds less muscle than that power lifter, or 10 pounds less muscle than that power lifter. Okay? You've got to factor that in. You have to factor that in. And without even getting into me as an example, there's at least one other YouTuber exact same height as me. I have more muscle than him by quite a bit. He's a bit leaner than me, but I have squatted and deadlifted more than he ever has at any point at his best. Okay? I have more muscle than him. I have more muscle. It matters. And people don't think in those terms. They think, oh, what's 5 or 6 pounds of muscle? 5 pounds of muscle is worth 50 pounds on your squat and deadlift, probably. So you're thinking they're very similar, but are they? Maybe they're not as similar as you think they are. Maybe the power lifter at the same height and the same body fat is carrying 5 pounds more muscle. You're just not seeing it because of similar body composition, right? Maybe the power lifter at the same height is 3 pounds heavier and 2% lower body fat. Maybe the football player's 22% body fat and the power lifter's 20% body fat and 3 pounds heavier, so has 8 pounds more muscle, and he outpulls him by 100 pounds, outsquats him by 100 pounds. Okay? That matters. And if you don't think it adds up that much, think about how strong most of you were with your noob gains. When you went from your starting strength level and you gained 25 pounds of rock solid muscle over several years of training. How much did your squat, deadlift, and bench go up? Did they only go up 100 pounds? No. Some of you guys have hit a 400 squat and you started with a 95 squat or 105 squat. You got like 300 pounds. That's what 25 pounds of muscle does. Then you have the whole point of maxing being a skill. Yes, maxing out is a skill. Is it going to add 100 pounds to a lift? No. But it could be substantial. Practicing maxing could be the difference between a 500 and a 530 or a 550. Okay, it could be. So there's all these other variables at play, because it's not good enough to say, well, they're similar. Similar. But are they? Like if we were to go DEXA scan them and look at their bones versus the amount of muscle on there, are you sure they're identical? Or is a power lifter a little more jacked? He's lifting a lot more weight, as you said. Maybe he's carrying more muscle relative to his height and limb length, in addition to practicing the skill. You don't know till you get them all on a DEXA scan. You're estimating. All right, next question. Earlier this week, you made a video about how we should train your lower body after upper body. My upper body is weaker. My lower body is weaker than my upper body by quite a bit. Does this guideline still apply to me? Should I prioritize lower body training and put it before an upper workout? Thanks. No, I was very, very clear on that. Let me ask you a very simple question. If your max squat is only, 225 pounds, do you think coming in and doing a leg day still isn't taxing to you if everything's at the same RPE? No, we do upper-lower splits. They're not called lower-upper splits. They're called upper-lower splits. And it's for reasons I've broken down with fatigue. Okay? Reasons I've broken down with fatigue. And I've had guys try to argue with me in these videos. Well, not everyone can pull a max deadlift after an upper body day. No, you don't get injured. Your training sucks. Your fatigue management sucks. You haven't taken care of your tendons. Okay? You haven't gotten yourself into shape. That's the problem. You can absolutely do it. I do it all the time. And no, I don't have robust joints in my arms. Look at my wrists. Look at my elbows. I do not have robust joints in my arms. So I don't get hurt just because I've done upper body lifting and then do max deadlifts the next day. It's done this way for a reason. Your upper body will stagnate a lot if you try to train lower body the day before upper. Okay? It'll stagnate a lot. The upper body won't interfere significantly with the lower. It just won't. I'm sorry, guys. Unless you did tons and tons of axial loading work and are very strong because you did tons of standing presses and pendlay rows and whatever, right? Unless you went super hard on that stuff and maybe fatigued your back a bit, not going to be an issue. And if it is becoming an issue, you can adjust your programming around it. I program my own clients this way for a reason. This is done this way by most coaches for a reason. It works better. Your upper body is going to stall. And just because your lower body is more advanced doesn't mean that this rule changes. So just because you feel like your lower body needs more work, and it probably does, doesn't mean we change this rule. You come in and just do more lower body work. You push it harder. You push it harder. And then you take that next day off. It's how we do it. Don't change this. You're not a special, unique snowflake. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.